The Discovery is under Emerald Chain control, and while Lieutenant Commander Stamets, the key to Discovery's spore drive for the moment, would be protected at Federation headquarters, none of our heroes are out of danger as we head into Starship Discovery's third season final, That Hope Is You, Part 2.
Let's take back this ship.
Let's go!
We're gonna have to fight until our last breath.
Federation is done for.
You must take a leap of faith.
It's okay to be afraid.
I want the Federation obliterated.
Whatever happens, we are together.
Your friends will be dead within the hour.
This is what's called a no-win situation.
I don't believe in those.
Hello everyone, my name is Captain Jack and welcome to Trek Central. Thank you for joining us as we break down what we know about Season 3's 13th episode and the third season final, That Hope Is You, Part 2. Now this episode was written by series co-showrunner Michelle Paradise, who also wrote the third season opener, That Hope Is You, Part 1, and second episode, featuring Discovery's landing in the future, Far From Home. An earlier leaked title suggested the season final might be called Outside, probably describing the world outside Sakal's holographic simulation. The official title, That Hope Is You Part 2, of course continues with Season 1 premieres Part 1, where Michael Burnham first landed in the 32nd century, met Cleveland Booker, and the lone Federation liaison Adida Sahil. The episode will be directed by Orlando Sume in what will be his 8th Discovery episode in the Director's Sea, including both written by Paradise this season. If you're new around here and want to stay up to date with the latest Starship developments in news, lore and more, make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video, and follow us on social media to get daily updates on the Trek universe. Now, let's break down the main trailer for this week's episode, That Hope Is You Part 2. Consider this your spoiler warning for the main trailer, the ready room sneak peek, and any speculation we may cover in this video. Taking cover at a corridor junction, Book says to himself, or perhaps someone off camera, let's take back this ship. When we left Book last week, he had just witnessed his friend Rin vaporized in front of him by Osira on Discovery's bridge. Commander Burnham, still armed with an Emerald Chain weapon, commands, let's go, before jumping into another fight scene between her, helmeted Emerald Chain guards, and Zera protecting himself behind a sickbay force field. Within the Federation headquarters protective field, Discovery is both firing and taking fire in a space battle that looks like it will bring a 32nd century fleet we've only seen bits and pieces of thus far. Tilly rallies the troops in engineering with, we're gonna have to fight until our last breath, as Tilly, Lieutenant Owo, Reese, Ina and the Dot 23s carrying with Sphere Data's mysterious personality run down a corridor under fire. As the battle between Discovery and Starfleet wages on, headquarters is under fire, with Admiral Vance and Kovic looking out the window just before the protective shield is breached, creating a large enough opening for Viridian to get through. Last week's episode, There Is a Tide, referenced the Federation President, as Osira was interested in speaking with them directly, though Vance represented the President in their negotiations. That Vance was representing the President of the Federation was even noted in the tiny print of Osira's armistice. This seems may pave the way for an exciting presidential reveal, with some speculation if this might be David Cronenberg's Kovic character, or even Robert Picardo reprising his role as the Doctor. A backup of the Doctor's program featured in Living Witness was the only previously known character to exist around the 32nd century. Admiral Vance raises the alarm that the Federation is done for, which sounds more like part of if we don't warning, but it does look like they're in for a trying battle. After no updates from Suru, Adira and Dr. Culber last week, we see pillars of Sakal's holographic environment begin to destabilize. Suru encourages, you must take a leap of faith, before Grey dressed as a Vulcan emerges. Could Vakif's computer somehow extract Grey's consciousness in a way that allowed Grey to go forward in this series, either as a living being or a mobile hologram, much like the Doctor? The Doctor's mobile emitter was from the 29th century, so if Vakif can separate Grey somehow, it seems plausible Grey could have all the freedoms and more that the Doctor was able to realise on Voyager. We see Adira worried, but back as a human, though not shown in the trailer. Promotional images from the episode released on Monday show when Adira enters a holographic environment, they'll be described as a Zehian. Zehians were first introduced by the character of Queen Poe in the short trek Runaway, with Poe returning in Such Sweet Sorrow Part 1 and 2. Daj Asher's boyfriend in Starship Picard's series premiere was also a Zehian. With Adira appearing human, we can presume the holographic environment has either collapsed or they have gone to some other ship. Now Dr. Culber, still as a Bajoran, comforts Sakal, noting it's okay to be afraid. We see a bit more of Culber's experience in Sakal's holographic environment in the Ready Room sneak peek, so we'll return to this in a moment. Within the Federation's protective shield, Discovery is opening fire on the Starfleet ships there before they return fire, including one 32nd century Intrepid-class ship that could be seen with Voyager J. At this point, the energy towers linking the ship within the field do not seem to be streaming to the Federation headquarters. Aboard a ship whose walls match Book's ship's programmable matter console, Osira wrestles with Michael Burnham as her voiceover, simulating an order from a bridge, commands that she wants the Federation obliterated. It's not clear yet where this corridor is, but given Book's ship is still under repair, Viridian seems the most likely bet. From space, apparently outside the Federation HQ shields, Discovery is taken into a large forward bay aboard the Viridian, similar to the giant Wisp ship from the Enterprise The Crossing. Given Discovery is already inside HQ shields, this scene may be post-battle, and I would predict that is most likely. In an alien corridor, the away team's holographic disguises are gone, though the radiation burns are still present. Suru attempts to comfort the team, including Sakal. Whatever happens, we are together, as the ship takes damage. This is likely aboard the Kahith after the holo emitters have failed, or been turned off by Sakal, conquering his fear with the team's support. Note that Grey is not visible at this point. Back in open space, it appears the Viridian explodes from the middle out. Could this be another weaponized burn brought on by Sakal? Osira's voiceover, probably to Burnham while they're fighting aboard Viridian, as seen earlier, claims, "Your friends will be dead within the hour," after Viridian takes the Discovery into their forward bay. This may be intended to jump to the Viridian Nebula, giving the Discovery crew a chance to rescue the away team, but also risking Osira getting her hands on the treasure trove of dilithium there. Osira's threats do not seem to be regarding a bridge crew, but we do see them trip in the corridor, still armed with Emerald Chain weapons, and without Tilly or the Dot 23s. If Discovery was near or inside the Viridian when it explodes, the impact would probably be much more powerful, so this scene probably comes from a battle with a Federation fleet. Tilly and the Dot 23s are probably, at this point, trying to retake the ship's computer elsewhere. Now in sickbay, Book is in tears on a biobed with a control halo on his head. The Emerald Chain could be trying to get information from him, turn him against his colleagues in some way, but given that he's on a biobed, it could be more biochemical than that. Perhaps Aurelio has cracked the genetic puzzle and is somehow using Book's Qui-Gon empathatic powers to substitute him for Stamets in operating the spore drive. It's also possible that those control halos operate using information gained from the Emerald Chain's hunting of transworms from Book's homeworld. I don't know, a lot of theories going around here. Zera, who captured Burnham at the end of the previous episode, notes this is what you call a no-win situation. Burnham, still flanked by helmeted Emerald Chain guards, quips, "I don't believe in those." We see Burnham and Osira firefight aboard the alien vessel, Burnham shooting a helmeted guard into the air. Now in the final shot, we see Discovery plummeting, apparently out of control, with damage to its starboard nacelle. Despite some special effects of the episode probably being completed from home during a pandemic lockdown, it looks like the season final will give us a big fleet battle highlighting the fascinating new designs we've got bits and pieces of most of this season. Will the fun name drops return to land a blow against the Viridian, the Voyager J, the Nog, or even the USS Pike or Spock? One can dream. Stamets, rescued by Federation HQ, was apparently absent from the trailer. Perhaps he's going to plead to Vance and the Federation president to rescue Hugh and somehow save the Discovery. As often has been the case, the Ready Room sneak peek seems like it will come from the beginning of the episode, catching us up on Culber and Suru's status, though Adira hasn't found them yet. In Sokol's holographic environment, a Gormaganda pup flies through the stormy skies as a computer reads out information on its species, including its record for the longest time spent on the Federation's endangered species list. Gormagandas were introduced as a spacefaring organisms back in Season 1's Magic to Make the Sadiest Man Go Mad, with occasional references since, including on Star Trek Picard and Star Trek Lower Decks. Dr. Culber, still in his holographic Bajoran disguise, stares in awe until the simulation begins to break down, reminding him of the effects that radiation is having on his own health. Elsewhere, Sakal and Suru are constructing a protection totem like the one Sakal has constructed elsewhere in the simulation, modelled after the totem in the Kelpian history book. Sakal notes the radiation burns forming on Suru's face, but before Suru can push the subject further, Sakal offers him help for his wounds. Dr. Culber enters as a holographic environment fritzes. Culber reports that things are getting worse, that more radiation is getting into the ship, suggesting that Sakal's outburst, back in Sakal, might have caused a breach in the ship's hull. Suru acknowledges that Sakal knows more about the environment than he previously indicated, but is hesitant to cause Sakal to panic and risk causing another burn, destroying what actually remains of the Federation itself. That's it for the Ready Room and trailer sneak peek. While we don't know for sure, it's a safe presumption this episode will end with a cliffhanger. What danger will Discovery be left to solve, potentially on level of having been flung 930 years into the future? Star Trek Discovery Season 3 final released Thursday, January 7th via CBS All Access and CTV Sci-Fi, then on Fridays via Crave and Netflix for international viewers. Tune in Thursday here for our weekly Discovery review, as well as on Sundays at 9pm GMT for our live show discussing everything from the previous week. If you want to keep up to date on all the latest Star Trek news, lore and more, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media or join our community Discord server. For now, I've been Captain Jack, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Live long and prosper, my friends. Oh, and a Happy New Year.